Hello Fancy Managers, and welcome to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. Had a couple of weeks off from doing these videos. Sadly had a family bereavement, so decided to take a bit of time off from putting my face on camera. But we are back this week and got lots to go over. Got questions about, is it time to bring in Sergio Aguero? Are there template busters out there? Best budget midfielders? And is the Pookie party over? Also, we're going to be going over my team and my transfers. Got a bit of an unsuccessful wildcard, sadly. So got a bit of catching up to do in that, but I'm ready for the challenge. Let's get to it. Matthew Jones there asking the first question, is it Kun time? And if so, at whose expense? So if you don't know, Matthew is one of the best FPL players in the world. He's a hub contributor. Highly recommend checking out his team reveals on site. So obviously, Sergio Aguero doing the business. He's coming in with some pretty big hauls lately. And many are looking at potentially shifting out other City assets to allow funds to bring in Aguero. So this is from our brand new comparison tool. It's very much in demo version at the moment, but it is being trialed by some of our members, and we are going to be putting up a main post on site later this week. It's still in a beta version, so we're still working on improvements. But if there are members out there or anyone who wants to become a member and have a go at using this tool, then we're looking for feedback to hopefully improve it. But as you can see there, it's already very useful. So this is Aguero versus Sterling. So I think that, it's going to be difficult to get both of these in your team. It's possible, certainly, but it's going to be difficult. And especially if you want Kevin De Bruyne as well, then it's pretty much impossible to get all three of those in your team. Obviously, those that had Sterling last week missed out. But, you've got to look at the bigger picture here. Who's the better option going forward? And I think the jury is probably still out. But my personal leaning would still be towards Sterling, despite Aguero producing the goods. I know Aguero is on penalties. I know that Jesus is out. So hopefully for Aguero owners, at least he'll get more minutes. But I still think on balance, Sterling, he's got better big chances, more XG, tends to have a similar amount of shots in the box. Aguero's actually got more shots overall, so that's certainly something in his favour. But I would say Sterling probably just a better all-round asset. He's obviously playing in midfield, so he gets those clean sheet points. He gets the extra points for goals as well. If, like me, you already have Sterling, then I don't see any reason to make that move. Certainly not based on the data that we have at the moment. If you're on a wild card, to be honest, I probably would still go Sterling, but that's my personal preference. It's a very tough call. I certainly wouldn't be looking at making transfers to bring Aguero in. That said, Norwich away this week is probably one of the best fixtures of the year, and Aguero could definitely haul again. And if he does, he's going to have a lot of transfers in. So it's not an easy decision, but currently I'm leaning towards having Sterling. And the other option I suppose you could go for is Sterling and Aguero. But if you look at De Bruyne, you can just see those expected assist stats, the big chances created, expected assists, key passes, crosses. De Bruyne is going to tick along very steadily throughout the season. I've got no doubt about that, so long as he stays injury free. So for me, I'm very happy with having Sterling and De Bruyne. I think the two of those three is probably a good shout. And as I said, even if I was on a wild card, I'd probably lean towards Sterling and De Bruyne. But Aguero is a fantastic option. I wouldn't begrudge anyone for going near him. Okay, next question from our friends who got the assists. Given how similar squads are currently, what template busters do you foresee emerging in the next block of 4 games? So, I don't know that our teams are that template. Maybe on Twitter, there is certainly a Twitter template, or twemplate as they like to call it. But generally, compared to a lot of other players, I don't think that you should necessarily be absolutely seeking out differentials at this stage. But I think that one player that I have got my eye on and is quite far out my watch list is Pepe, and he's not owned by a lot of fantasy managers. And he's, if you compare him to someone like Aubameyang, he's looking very strong actually, and obviously coming in 9.4 million. He's playing in midfield, so he's getting those extra points as well. So he's somebody that I got my eye on. And with Watford, Aston Villa, Man United and Bournemouth up next, I think that those are some, probably Man United aside, those are some very attractive fixtures for Pepe to really come to the fore. The other one I got my eye on is Son from Spurs. I think that he could be a very good asset, although As a Spurs fan, I am a little bit worried by just Spurs in general. They don't really seem to be clicking. So I'm holding off until Spurs seem to be getting in full gear. I prefer Son probably over to Kane. I know Kane scored a hat-trick on international duty, but I still think that Son probably offers a little bit better value there. Elsewhere, if you're really looking for a differential, you could probably go with somebody like Lanzini. I think that he's always offering a great attacking output if he can stay injury-free, and that is a big if. So personally, I wouldn't go there, but if you're looking for a punt, possibly Lanzini, possibly even Richarlison. Everton still have some good fixtures, and I like the look of him, and Everton seem to be playing more attacking now, so I think that he could be a good shout as well. Question there from Reban, another hub contributor, asking best budget midfielders, budget defined as under 6.5. So having a look at our opt tool there over the last 4 matches, midfielders sorted out by under 6.5 million. And you can see that Mount coming out with the most shots. So that's always shot volume is always quite a good indicator, one of the ones that I look for. And 14 shots over the last 4 game weeks shows me that he's a good shout, and he's still got some good creativity stats as well there. So he's certainly someone that I think is a great shout. I have actually got him in my team as well, so I'm very happy with him. Barkley for me probably wouldn't go there. He's just not quite nailed on enough, but he could potentially become an option. James from Man United, he's a great shout, and he's somebody that is very high up on my watch list as well. He's got some really good numbers there, looks good, passes the eye test. I think that he's probably the Man United option to own at the moment if you want to go with Manchester United. I've moved away from Manchester United a little bit. I just kind of want to see how that sort of develops, but I think that he is a great shout. Tielemans, I think, is worth keeping an eye on for the next 2. So Leicester still have a couple of difficult fixtures. I think it's Man United and Tottenham up next. So keep an eye on him for the next 2, and then they go on a slightly easier run. He could certainly be a decent shout. There are a lot of Leicester midfielders there, and I'd probably, I think the pick of the bunch there is probably Vardy, but hold off Leicester for the next 2, and then have a look at and reassess the situation. Harry Wilson, he's also a potentially good shout. Everyone saw that free kick he did. So in answer to Rebound's question, I think my pick of the bunch would be Mount and James. Okay, so I've got loads of questions on Pukki and is the party over? For me, he's had the one blank and he's got Man City up next, so he's not going to score a lot of points in the upcoming game week just because Man City have so much of the ball. But he's still got a decent run of fixtures after that, so I think that for me he's a great pick and he's not going anywhere. I think that Barnes is another brilliant pick actually. I think that both of those are good options, but I don't really see a reason to switch from Pukki to Barnes. I don't think that's worth a transfer. Barnes certainly has the better fixture this coming weekend, and I would expect him to outscore Pukki, and I think that he's a great shout. He's got good numbers, he's on penalties, and he just seems to be playing really well this season. And he's someone that I looked at transferring in actually. In the end I went for Haller. Come to mind, he was a little bit later on. But I think the best 3 forwards at the moment are Pukki, Barnes and Haller in terms of value. But for me, Pukki, he's not going anywhere. I haven't really even thought about transferring him out. I suppose you could potentially remove him for this game week, and then Burnley away is potentially a bit of a tricky fixture. Burnley have got that good defence, but I think in terms of a season-long pick, and certainly over the next few weeks, Pukki isn't going anywhere. Okay, moving on to my team, and this is the bit which I'm a little bit hesitant about because it hasn't been a good couple of weeks really. So I wildcarded in game week 2. I definitely did it too early. It was a mistake to play it then. And have dropped from around 400k to 1.6 million, which is a little bit painful. I was able to pick up players like Cantwell and Lundstrom and Pukki, which I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So I'm not that despondent actually. So I'm very happy with my team, and my team value is increasing. So those are 2 things that you kind of want at this stage of the season: is your team value increasing, and for you to be happy with your team. Points are obviously, I'd like to have more of them, and 1.6 million is not where I want to be, but it's not terrible either. I've had worse starts to the seasons, and my goal from now until Christmas is to aim for that 100k mark, and if I can get to 100k by Christmas, then I'm pretty confident I can still get another top 10k finish by the end of the season. So definitely no need to panic, and if you have got off to a bad start, definitely don't go trying out wild punts. That's we've only played 4 weeks of the season. We're still at the very, very early stages. So there's a lot of time to catch up on your mini league rivals. Still focus on those players which you expect are going to bring in the most points rather than going for those extreme differential picks. Moving on to my move this week then, I got rid of both my Manchester United assets. I don't actually think that they are terrible picks, to be honest. I just think that there are better picks out there. I still think Rashford is a good pick, and I actually still think Wan-Bissaka is a good pick. But, I like the look of Trent Alexander-Arnold. I was a big fan of him at the start of the season, and for some reason I played my wild card and got rid of him. I just thought that, with Alisson being out, that Liverpool wouldn't keep that many clean sheets. But having watched some Liverpool matches, Trent Alexander-Arnold looks brilliant. So I kind of felt like I needed to bring him back in. And Haller for West Ham, he looks to be the spearhead of that attack then. I was debating between Barnes and Haller, and in the end, I just think that West Ham are going to score more goals, and I think that he's going to be involved in a lot of those goals. So, Burnley also has great fixtures, but I quite like the upcoming fixtures for West Ham. So, yeah, those are two players that I really, really wanted, and I had to sacrifice my Manchester United assets. And I wouldn't be surprised if both Wan-Bissaka and Rashford hurt me this weekend for taking them out. But long term, I think that Haller and Trent Alexander-Arnold are going to be good picks for my team. Okay, so this is how I'm lining up for the upcoming week. I'm not quite sure on Pukki. He might come in. I might bench Dean or potentially Dunk or Lundstrom instead of him. So I'm not quite sure on the bench order, but fairly settled on Sterling captain. Obviously he didn't produce the goods last week, but Norwich, I don't really know if they know how to defend. And City just seem to be rolling teams over. So I'm pretty confident I'm going to go with Sterling captain. Salah is obviously the other great option there, and if you got Aguero, then he's another strong option. But for me, I think Sterling is one of the best shouts this week, and I think this is probably one of the best fixtures of the season because I don't think Norwich really have it in them to sit back and play defensive, and that could play into City's hands. So that's currently where I'm going, and fairly happy with the team this week. And that's it from me this week. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and also feel free to drop me a comment below. If you did like the comparison tool, please go to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, and I think within the next couple of days it will be live on there. At least it'll still be in beta version, but it will be live on there, so you can go check that out. But otherwise, I hope you have a good week, and I will see you on the other side.